So the students, let's start with it. Okay. So students, last what we were doing is the different types of the uh, wiring we have seen. In that case, we have seen the cleate wiring, the very first one by one I just go. So cleate wiring are basically similar to the PVC wiring. Okay, so cleate wirings are similar to the PVC wiring, but the problem is like it is just a temporary wiring system. We can't use it in the case of a domestic use. Like, okay, now why we can use it? Because why we can't use it? Because again, it is being used just so that it can be used inside the, what you can say, inside the walls, or you can say that it is placed by means of a porcelain cleats or plastic or wood. So we can't directly put it, and it is not suitable for domestic premises. Okay, so the use of this was being used, but it is of not preferability. It is not preferred. Coming to next is your wooden casing and capping wiring. So yes, this is again which is having a capping as well as casing of the wood, which was being used in the past, but now it is what you can say that it is kind of an obsolete, and it is not being used, and the place is being taken by some other different types of wiring systems. So that is why wooden casing and a capping wiring systems are being not being used, but it is generally used to cover where it was being used. It was just generally used to cover the wooden casing, or you can say the wires, and cables are being installed. And in the case of generally, you might have seen that the computer wires in the offices are being placed in such a way that it is in the wooden casing. Okay, and if we can't conceal it, we can keep it in the form of wooden casing. So that was something was there. But yes, again, it is an obsolete now. It is being replaced by the different types of different sheets. So let's come to the next is your CTS or TRS or PVC sheet wiring. So this is something which is a single core or the double core or three core TRS cables, which is actually in oval shape and circular oval shape, and this is considered to be as an, it is a chemical proof and a waterproof, steam proof as well. And it is around having a thickness of around 10 mm, and where it is being used in the case of a horizontal run as well as in the case of a vertical run. So you can make it horizontally as well, you can keep it vertically as well. So both cases, these two things are being these types is being used. Now coming to next is a lead sheath or metal sheath wiring. The lead sheath wiring, generally it is being employed where the conductors are being the types of wirings employs conductors that are insulated with the VIR, and it is also being covered with the sheath of the lead aluminum, as well as it is having the different alloys which is containing 95% of the lead. Now in this cables are run on the wooden bed and fixed by means of the what you can say that there is a clips which is being used for the TRS wiring. So it is similar to the TRS wiring where the capping is being done. Next is very important part, which is a conduit wiring. So conduit wiring is something which is the wiring which is done according to the pipes installation, whereas there is no possibility of the what you can say the insulation and the insulation or the naked wire is being exposed to. So it is little helpful for the domestic purposes. So let's come to the next is the special types, where the surface or open conduit type, and the next is a recessed or concealed. So now in this case, surface or open conduit type, in this case we generally install it on the roof of a wall, and it is being create in this such type of wirings have been used by creating holes on the surface of the wall, and the installation is being done with the help of that plugs, what you can see as set as a rubber plugs. So similarly, now coming to the recessed or the concealed type underground, where the conduits are being hidden inside the wall, it is not being kept outside. You might have seen that in your case of in the bathroom, the plumbing is being done concealed type. In the same way, the this wiring is being done. So that is something which is recessed or concealed type or underground type. And this is very much most commonly being used, and it is said to be as a more, what you can say that it is a little preferable by most of the domestic purposes, and it looks actually beautiful. So that was something what we were talking about, the recessed or concealed type. Now coming to next is the electrical components. So the electrical component, electronic components, what you are seeing here. Now these all components you might have seen earlier as well. So this is just a representation what you can see here. So in your lower class you might have seen these all things with the circuit, along with the circuit. So I'll not repeat it once again, and these all things are already being known to you about the capacitor, about the variable capacitor, and then transformer, microphone jack. You can see it in this way, it is there. Similarly, battery, then lamp, ground, LED, photoresistor, potentiometer, fixed resistor, NPN transistor, PNP transistor, relay, switch, crystals, and these all things are being already known to you. Okay. With this, we'll move to the next part, which is quiz. Yeah. So let's have a quiz. Let's have the understanding of this. So can anyone tell me the thickness of wire conductive copper part, which is being identified, is in how? So please give the answer. Wire gauge, scale, micrometer, or all of them. Yeah, good. I got the answer. Good. So that is your all of the above. Okay. Now coming to the second part of it, question number 2. So the type of wiring mostly used in domestic applications. Yeah. Can anyone tell me? The type of wiring which is being used. Yeah, conduit, conduit. It's not lead, it's conduit. It's conduit. Okay. So yeah. Okay. Fine. So let's come to the next part now. The next part, which is your the electronics part, which is the last part of the, say that this. So can you are you able to see my screens? Yeah, anyone? Anyone? Are you able to see my screen? Yes, perfect. So let's start with the last part of it, which is the electronics part. Yeah. So electronics part. So electronics part, in this we'll be seeing the introduction of the electronics. Actually, you are already aware of it. So next is PCB, which is a printed circuit board. Then we'll see the breadboard, multimeter, resistor, and then quiz. So these all things, actually PCB also you might have been exposed in the case of the your subject which is said to be BW. So in the case of a BW, you might have got exposed with, or if you are not having a BW, then you are in the case of a PPS. So yeah, so next semester you might be having this printed circuit board, and where you'll understand the printed circuit board, how it looks like and what is the work of it. Actually, one of the practical is there based on which the printed circuit board you are supposed to make it. So basically the PCB, what is PCB? It is just a function what we are relating it with. It is just a what you say as a track. Okay? It is a track or a path through which the current should move. Okay? And that particular board, how it is being made. So board is being made with the help of the uh, copper and some sheet layers which are of non-conductive substrate. So that will be seen, and then we'll see types of PCB. So the types of PCB where we are talking about the single-sided PCB, double-sided PCB, and multi-layer PCB. So single-sided PCB, what does it mean is like only on one side of the surface, on one side of the surface, basically we have a dielectric base. And in the case of a double-sided PCB, it will be having on both the side, and the dielectric material will be interconnecting it by the through a holes in the form of through a holes. In the case of a multi-layer PCB, so multi-layer PCBs are being made up of 3 or more layers, where it is being separated by dielectric materials, and the layers are being connected again with the help of the uh, holes, related through holes, or with the help of a bats. So that is something what we are talking about now. So these all are the functions and the types. So what do you mean by PCB? What is the PCB? PCB का तो function आपने बता दिया कि it is just a path or the track where the this current is being flowing through it. ठीक है ना? So what is PCB? PCB, it is just a kind of a base or a board, ठीक है, on which we put all the components, all the electronic components physically, ठीक है, which is being supported by it. Like an example, if you see a motherboard of the PC, so the motherboard of the PC has number of it is in a green color, and it has a number of electrical components on it. So it is just a supportive, it's a base on which the electrical components are being placed, and it provides the path through which the currents are being moved. So it is just widely used in the case of the electronics, where the fabrication of it and the what you can say is the fabrication is very easy in the case of the PCB. So even you people can do it in the lower this class first year. So let's come to the next. What is next? Next is a breadboard. Yeah, this is also one of the point or one of the part of the PCB which is little helpful when we talk or when we discuss it in the little brief. So breadboard. So before going to the breadboard, we'll understand that where the breadboard is being used. So breadboard is just basically used. It is a kind of as I said that it is used in the PCB where the helpful for the testing, or you can say that it is one kind of the board where the electronic components are being connected and it is being tested. Okay, so which is helpful for testing purpose. Now, when you talk about a breadboard, the breadboard is of a different models basically, but it has clips in it. It has a clips in it. That clips is around 56 clips are being connected to it, and with which this testing is being done. So now, what do you mean by the question comes here? What do you mean by clips? So clips are basically the contact points. Clips are just a contact points which are being connected, which are such type of clips are multiple. So the spacing between the two clips are around, it is 0.1 mm. So it is very close to. And basically the clips when you talk about, in that case it is helpful, or basically breadboards are being useful when you allow it to test the circuits in a very quicker manner. So yeah, breadboard in that way it is very helpful. Again, one more thing is that there is a breadboard which is helpful for making the quick electrical connections, as the already components are being placed in it. So the electrical components are being connected little faster, and they are being soldered. Okay, and they are being soldered. You are already knowing that what do you mean by soldering. So soldering below 430 degrees Celsius. Sorry, 450 degrees Celsius. Okay, good. So let's come to that breadboard. So this is the design of the breadboard what you are having, where you are seeing that there is two rows. Okay, so you can see that there is a two rows. So these two rows are defining that one is a positive terminal and another is a ground. Okay, one is positive terminal and one is the ground. Now this the holes which are being connected, the holes which are being placed here, you can see here that these are basically the points what we are having. At the same time, there is a small hole, you can see it in the form of a grid. So here the ICs are being connected to it. IC are said to be an integrated circuit. So ICs are being connected. Here, one more thing is mentioned that the plug-in or plug-out of your breadboard circuit board is applicable only when the power is on. Okay, otherwise it is of no use. Similarly, this can if you do it every now and then, it can create a short circuit. So again, it is difficult to. So before putting on the power, you are supposed to apply it. Okay. Next coming to is your multimeter. Yeah, multimeter is something which is the electronic instrument. It is used for measuring the voltage, used for measuring the current as well as resistance. So that is why it is also to be said as a multi-tester. Okay, you might have seen it in your at your home or some electricians. They are having a yellow color box that is to be the multimeter. So now coming to the types, there are multimeter has two types. One is your digital multimeter and another one is your analog. So what we see generally is your digital multimeter. This is just the circuit diagram for the digital multimeter, and another is your analog multimeter, which is in this form. Okay, so this is the analog form what the generally electrician use it. Okay, so just by rotating this knob, they can get here the range. Okay, so now coming to digital multimeter. Digital multimeter is having a 4 section in it. Okay, so 4 section is one is your display and another is dial field. Then they have a button as well as the input jacks. I think so. They are given the multimeter. Okay, no. So in your resource book, it might be giving you the digital multimeter diagram. So where the digital numbers are being displayed. So it is having a 4 categories. One is your display, another is your dial, and then they are having the buttons as well as the input jacks. So digital multimeters are being used to increase the accuracy. Basically, it is being whatever we are getting in the case of the analog multimeter, more accurately will be getting in the case of a digital multimeter. That is why we need to go with switch to analog, from analog to digital multimeter. One more thing is that digital multimeter needs the power supply, and it also need, or it can be used on a battery. So why we are not going with the analog? So analog is something which is helpful in the case of the calibration, but it is not so precise as it is in the case of a digital multimeter. Digital multimeter in the on behalf of analog, it is again considered to be not the best one, because when it comes to testing the semiconductor electronic parts, again it becomes little difficult for with the going with the digital. Now coming to the multimeter, which is an analog multimeter. So analog multimeter, I have already discussed that it is gives you the value which is in the form of an analog, and it has a zero adjustment screw as well as the meter pointer, which is showing you the readings of it. Because this particular when this needle, that this particular needle, when it moves, this such type of movement, this type of movement is your electromechanical movement, where the mechanically this needle is moving, and due to the electrical value it is being moving. So that is said to be an electromechanical component, and it is that type of movement is said to be the DRSO, arsenal movement, and where the pointers is along the scale to display the value. So with respect to the digital multimeter, analog is something which is having a low resistance, and it also gives you the high sensitivity which, with the downscale. Even this analog multimeters are being used to check the diodes, okay, where to understand that whether the diode is more accurate or not. So that is something which is helpful in the case of the digital analog multimeter. Now coming to multimeter as a category, different categories. So there is category 1, category 2, category 3, and category 4. So the category 1 is having the electronic devices which are not connected directly to the power supply. So that is something which comes under category 1. Similarly, category 2, so category 2 comes under domestic appliances as well as PC or the TVs like that. So that you can measure it. Category 3, where you can measure for the lighting system in the large buildings, even the power distribution systems or the motors, high heavy end motors. Now coming to the category 4, so category 4 deals with the 3-phase. Okay, so these all are what we are talking about. It is coming about talking about the 2-phase and also, but category 4 is something which is 3-phase. They are talking about 3-phase connections. Coming to the next is your the resistor. So what is resistor? Resistor is an appliance which is used for, or device which is used for resisting the, so that you are already aware. So but what are the different types of resistors? The types of resistor, these all are types of resistor: wire wound resistor, metal film resistor, thick film and thin film resistor, network and surface mount resistor, variable resistor, special resistor. Similarly, we'll come to the next type, which is coming to the function. So it is having a current limiting, so current limiting, diversion, partial pressure, and converting electrical energy into internal energy. More than other than this, there are few more functions are being there, and that is all about the resistor. So there comes where the resistor is also being helpful in the case of the, sorry, it is having a function of dissipating the power as well as finding out the temperature coefficient and finding out even the maximum temperature and the maximum voltage. So these all are also the function of the resistor. Now coming to this. So talking about the quiz, the first is the resistivity of a copper is how much? So when we talk about the resistivity of the copper, so resistivity of the copper deals with the 10.7 value. Okay, it also deals with 10.6, which is the constant value what we are having. That is why I told you 10.7. Coming to the next is question number 2. The function of PCB, resistor in PCB. What is the function of resistor in PCB? Can anyone tell me? Function of resistor in PCBs. Everyone? Yeah, perfect. No, it's diversion. Okay, it's diversion. Very good. I got the few answers. Diversion. Good. So with that, that completes your topic related to the workshop. So if anyone has query related to this, please tell me. Anyone has it? Yeah, anyone has any query related to this? Please reply so that we can move further. Yes, come on. Okay, fine. So no issues. So we'll start with the that completes your this part.